I want to welcome everyone and thank you for joining us. I know some people are still entering, but we have a lot of information we want to share with you today. My name is Steve Brescia, and I'm the Executive Director of Groundswell International, and I'm joining you today from Washington, D.C. in the U.S. So I want to just introduce our webinar today. First, in terms of logistics, as mentioned, we will be presenting in English today, but have interpretation in Haitian Creole, French, and Spanish by clicking on the globe at the bottom. We will do our best to speak slowly for our interpreters and listeners. And we encourage you to introduce yourselves in the chat if you'd like. And we will also take questions at the end of the webinar if you would like to post them in the chat as well. So we have two main purposes for our webinar today. The first is to share a holistic program methodology that prioritizes agroecology in rural Haiti. The second purpose is to share the results and recommendations from an external evaluation of that program that was recently completed. We find the evaluation methodology to be a valuable one that we hope to replicate in other countries. And we believe the results point to agroecology as a viable and scalable poverty solution in Haiti. Our webinar today will have four parts. First, Donna Francois, Program Officer for Haiti of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, will provide brief introductory comments on the extremely challenging context in Haiti and the importance of smallholder agriculture. Then my colleague Cantab Jean-Baptiste, Director of Partnership for Local Development in Haiti, will present an overview of the program methodology that his team leads and that was evaluated. This will be complemented by a 7-minute video that captures the voices and perspectives of the Haitian farmers that are involved in this work. Finally, Vanja Westerberg, the author of this evaluation, will take about 25 minutes to present the evaluation methodology and the results. Vanja is an environmental economist and co-founder of Altus Impact based in Switzerland, which is a network of environmental consultants and analysts. And again, at the end, we will open to your questions. Both Donna Francois and Cantab Jean-Baptiste are on our call right now, but Donna's comments were pre-recorded because she's at an airport waiting for a flight, as were Cantab's due to the unpredictable internet connection where he is in rural Haiti. But Cantab, Vanja, and I in particular will be available for questions and comments at the end. I should note that this evaluation was originally inspired by another that Vanja and Altus Impact and ELD in Germany led with our partner organization, CICOD in Ghana. Relevant documents for all these studies are on our website, and I will ask my colleague Chandi to post those links in the chat as well. Groundswell International is a network that works with local NGO partners in 11 countries in West Africa, South Asia, and Latin America and the Caribbean. We share a mission of strengthening communities to build healthy farming and food systems from the ground up. Many of us on this call who work at agroecology frequently hear questions like, what is the evidence that it works? Is it really viable and scalable? And what is required to scale it? We know that agroecological methods work and can be spread because we see it every day. Farmers see it in their fields and learn from each other. People share stories and narratives, including through video, community radio, and popular theater. And a lot of well-documented, rigorous scientific research and evidence also exists to confirm those facts. There are different ways of knowing, of course, for different purposes. Along with many allies, Groundswell is working to continuously build on the practice and evidence to create a just transition in our agricultural and food systems. Groundswell, for example, has participated in a valuable process coordinated by the Global Alliance on the Future of Food to compile, build, and make useful different kinds of evidence. And we hope to continue to contribute to those kinds of efforts. I want to thank those who made this evaluation possible, the Casey and Family Foundation for their leading support, as well as the economics of land degradation, ELD, in Germany. I'd like to thank Vanja for leading the evaluation. And most importantly, I'd like to thank our colleagues at PDL and the farmer organizations they work with in Haiti. They are leading this work forward under incredibly difficult conditions of political and economic crisis in the country, without any elected government in place, and where gangs rule much of Haiti's capital. It is often a heroic task just to find fuel, to travel between rural communities, and to survive, let alone to carry out an evaluation like this. But Haitians persist and lay the groundwork for the future. Important work has been done by many actors around the world to synthesize key principles for food systems transformation and agroecology. In our experience, the most essential of these principles is centering and strengthening the agency of farmers in working with nature instead of against it, to innovate and spread solutions from the ground up. This requires effective farmers' organizations as well. This is often referred to as the principle of co-creation of knowledge. And in our experience, this principle underlies all other efforts to create appropriate technologies, policies, markets, and social movements. And I believe you will see that reflected in today's presentations as well. So with that, I will turn it over to the introductory comments of Donna Francois, Haiti Program Officer of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you again, Steve, Gatav, and teams at PDL, Groundswell, and Altus Impact for this groundbreaking study and invitation this morning. Today, I'm thrilled to share some remarks about the significance of this study's evidence for the global agroecology movement, particularly in Haiti at this time. As a young Haitian woman, I have witnessed the injustice and the incongruity faced by smallholder Haitian farmers since I was 11. I recognize their vital role in our collective survival and their importance to our heritage, culture, and national economy. The smallholder farmers are the true backbone of our society. Unfortunately, Haitian farmers have faced continuous challenges throughout history, from the interference of economic policies during the American occupation in the 1915 to the imposition of harsh austerity measures by bilateral organizations in the 1990s, ushering trade liberalization as a response to economic development in the country. They have been stripped of their dignity, their voice, their land, yet they remain steadfast, fighting for food sovereignty, economic independence, and self-determination. This study challenges long-held notions about effective agricultural development in Haiti, which have permeated aid, political, and economic centers worldwide. It presents a path toward a just transition, aligning economic, climate, and ecological priorities in practical ways, holistically benefiting Haitian smallholder farmers, their families, and communities. Today, smallholder farmers are at the front line of Haiti's response to the worst of its crisis around in food, economic, and climate crisis in recent history. The study surveyed over 330 smallholder farming households and demonstrated the effectiveness of agroecological practices and simultaneously improving farmers' livelihoods and the environment. Agroecological farmers achieved higher net crop income than conventional farmers, with an additional $437 in net income per hectare per year. Furthermore, agroecological farms maintain better green cover and water retention even in drought conditions, contributing to climate resilience and carbon sequestration. Those findings provide a compelling case for adopting agroecological practices in Haiti, but also elsewhere in the world. In addition to the benefits for farmers in the environment, the regenerative model of agriculture and rural development advocated by the study aligns with bottom-up principles of local empowerment and placing grassroots-led initiatives at the forefront and in the decision-making seat. Instead of relying primarily on short-term solutions, as an example, such as food aid, emergency food aid to combat food insecurity, we must center local institutions and smallholder farmers through agroecological farming to solve local problems. The challenges are significant, but so are the opportunities. Haiti has a population of about 11.5 million, grappling with persistent hyperinflation, driving up the cost of living, and making necessities unattainable for many. This investment in local agricultural production has created a gap between available local food and imported processed food, leading to the greatest humanitarian crisis in the country. 4.8 million Haitians need food assistance. Despite these challenges, Haitian farmers continue to work, they continue to produce, and leverage agriculture, arts and crafts activities to supplement their income, yet they contribute to 1.4 billion in sweat equity and investment in the sector. Post-harvest loss remain a major factor, contributing to food insecurity and income loss at around 40% in Haiti. 80% of educated Haitian youth leave the communities and leave their country seeking better opportunities and deserting the sector entirely, presenting a threat for the future of agriculture and food production in the country. So this study could come at a better time. Agriculture remains, the agricultural sector remains a vital sector in the Haitian economy, with about 76 million contribution to the GDP annually since 2013, and continue to be a driving sector and a driving force in the country. Haitian farmers continue to remain the backbone of Haitian society and remain the leaders in addressing poverty, food insecurity. And we must acknowledge their leadership and the legacy that they bring to this work in the country. As we continue the discussion, it is important that we engage with stakeholders across Haiti, including the Haiti Food System Alliance, of which PDL is a founding member, to build on the evidence presented in this study. Currently, over 4 million Haitians continue to face the result of systemic inefficiencies that have lasted for far too long in our collective sector. By investing in agroecology and empowering Haitian smallholder farmers, local institutions, markets, and rural economies, we can together support Haitians in strengthening resilience and fostering climate justice, food sovereignty, for sustainable change in Haitian communities. And before I leave you, I'm leaving with this reminder. Before Haiti was deemed the poorest country of the Western Hemisphere, Haiti was the pale desert. And before agriculture was deemed to be the occupation of the marginalized and the ostracized in Haitian society, it was a vibrant and thriving sector that was the pillar of Haitian life, Haitian communities, and Haitian heritage. With that, smallholder Haitian farmers are more than ready and require and deserve our accompaniment at the depth, scale, pace needed through practices such as agroecology to meet the issues of today and build the future that they envision for themselves, their children, and their communities, and this in our lifetime. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Donna, for your wonderful perspectives and comments. Kantav, before we show your recorded comments, do you just want to say a quick hello to everyone from rural Haiti? And I know that you will be live with us to answer any questions later.
Thanks, Steve. Good morning, everyone. Kantav Jean-Baptiste, the Executive Director of Partenariat pour le Développement Local, based in Haiti. I'm very happy to be with you today to share about our global approach to community development with a strong focus on agroecology. Thanks to everyone, and we are happy to be with you. Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kantav Jean-Baptiste. I am the Executive Director of PDL, Partenariat pour le Développement Local. I'm presenting you agroecology and community-led development in Haiti. PDL works with extremely vulnerable and marginalized rural communities in Haiti. En dehors outside people, the way the society called farmer families. That means that they are excluded. This leads to fatalism for many, not seeing a way forward. Those families live without any government support on degraded natural resources, vulnerable to climate change, drought, flooding, and the photo at the bottom shows the flood on June 18, 2023, and unpredictable rainfall, political and economic crisis. But how do we reverse this downward cycle? When PDL proposed to work in a community, the initial steps consist on building relationships of trust with community members. We emphasize on inclusion from the very beginning. We meet existing community leaders, but we also meet excluded people. We meet women, young people, even children, because each category will tell you their own stories. Our language is clear. We are not coming to do anything for anyone. We are coming to work with people who want to fight to change their living conditions. One of the first steps with the communities, we draw a social map with the participation of key informants. And with them, we also organize a well-being ranking of the families in order to identify the most vulnerable families. The census of the population, household by household, with the different category of ages. And also, we identify the key economic activities for adult people. We reconstruct the local history of organizational, social, cultural, and economic development activities. We discuss the findings, we clarify and validate with the community representatives to build a common understanding of the current situation. And then PDL will offer its collaboration. We promote and strengthen community organization. Our facilitators use posters, stories, proverbs, popular songs to encourage participants to give their opinion. This began the process of movement formation, solidarity groups. This is kind of individual and collective awareness raising. Tout le monde c'est monde, all people are people. Peasant families are also human beings and can aspire to a more decent life while fighting against misery, hunger, exclusion, and exploitation. The community organization can take action together to change their behavior. A series of 10 reflection sessions on topics of daily life like friendship, love, conflicts, and conflict management, exploitation, union make strengths, community, mobilizing and investing local resources. This process gives birth to the groupement in the villages, solidarity group of 8 to 15 men, and women. When there are 3 or more groupmen in a village, they form a coordination committee called a block. Blocks from 5 to more will join together to form the peasant association. They elect a general assembly at the communal section level. We have strengthened 14 peasant associations since 2009 with approximately 10,000 current members. This is more or less the structure of a community organization, a farmer organization. At the bottom are the groupmen, the basic structures. At the middle are the blocks, and at the top is the Central Coordination Committee. The key activities of the Peasant Association are the following, because PDL uses a holistic approach to address the rural Haiti challenges. Agroecology, by improving production methods, organization of seed banks and grain banks, the community savings and credit co-ops, groupment of women and men mobilize saving and credit to form co-ops to finance agroecological production and family microenterprises. Economic development and livelihoods, complementary saving and credit for marketing of products and other goods, small livestock raising, income generation, etc. Community health, education for preventing infectious diseases, sanitation, family nutrition with focus on consumption of diverse, healthy, locally produced food. Organizational capacity, peasant association structure committees to manage each activity. Agriculture remains the main income source for rural families. Key challenges are soil erosion, loss of trees and ground cover, declining soil fertility, lack of access to quality seeds, drought and floods, pests, etc. On the farm, we sit down with the farmers to talk about the challenges they are facing and how to overcome them. And then everyone will act according to his or her socioeconomic conditions. We usually start by soil and water conservation through contour barriers using rocks, stems, and crops residue live barriers. Improve management of organic matter, eradication of burning, integration of organic matter into the soil, cover crops, and wind manures. Those photos show different techniques of soil and water conservation. Some key agroecological techniques put into practice in our programs. Diversification of crops for biodiversity and to minimize climate risk like droughts and floods. Introducing fruit and forest trees into the farming systems. Timely crop maintenance, natural means for pest control, seed banks, and improve farmer seed selection. The PDL agroecology learning methodology is kind of farmer-centered experimentation and dissemination. Working in groupement, PDL supports farmers to learning and testing of agroecological strategies to improve production. We organize cross visits to learn from successful farmers in order to convince other farmers that they can also improve their production. Effective agroecological techniques are adapted to local conditions by farmers. Model farmers continue to deepen their agroecological innovation and spread to more of their land. They define effective practices on their own farms using their own words. Volunteer promoters teach other farmer to farmer as part of present organization plans. The model farmers diversified agroecological farms and cultivate all year long in order to access food all year long to feed their family and also supply the local markets. And they contribute to regenerate the environment, to improve resilience to climate change, and also to sequester carbon. Successful model farmers are trained as agroecological volunteers to teach and support others. There are also challenges and threats. The farming population is aging. Young people migrate or become motor drivers. Smallholder farmers cannot access appropriate tools for soil conservation. High cost of labor for protecting the farm against erosion. The effects of the climate change seriously affect the production, and small farmers get discouraged. Grazing livestock during the dry season from December to March. But there are also opportunities. Even at a low scale, agroecological practices are effective. Agroecological organizations are ready to share their experiences and train others. Current agroecological farmers better understand the food system. Many families are improving their health by eating healthy local foods. Some recommendations. First, for the Haitian government. They should establish public policies for the adoption of agroecological practices. They should facilitate smallholder access to affordable credit and appropriate tools to conserve their farmland, and also strengthen the farmer seed systems. For the civil society organization, they can contribute to the implementation of agroecological policies and practices with technical and financial support. Agroecological non-government organizations and farmer organizations can document their experiences and methodologies for training other organizations. For the funding agencies, they should support agroecological organizations to deepen and spread agroecology to overcome poverty, food insecurity, and climate change. Thank you.
Very much, Kantav, for that overview of your program, and thanks for your work. Chanti, we now wanted to see this nice video that was done so we can hear directly some of the farmers' perspectives in Haiti.
C'est pendant PDL d'une formation. pour nous dans le groupement, moi-même je viens réaliser pas de terre qui finit. Parce que ça, après, je finis faire formation, je commence à faire rampe, mettre paille dans le canal, couvrir la terre, et puis planter des rampes, mettre des structures. Là, je dis c'est market. Quel que soit l'envie, si je ne pas de papa, je me là. Je me suis dit pas de là.
Jardin modèle, c'est façon de apprendre nous, j'aime qu'on travaille et d'une façon traditionnelle hier, avec journée aujourd'hui, il y a une grande différence. Ils apprennent nous comment pour nous protéger terre, comment pour nous préparer des composts et qui est capable de permettre terre de plus vivant. Et ils apprennent nous plusieurs types de terre qui gagnent tout, qui ça qui est approprié à chaque terre dans la section 1.
Les que nous avons gagné terre qui gagne pile zeb, pratique nous avons utilisé c'était bouler terre. Par rapport à un ensemble de formations que nous recevons, nous venons connaître que nous pas de bouler, nous préférons faire rampe ensemble avec eux.
L'arrivée dans terre, c'est terre qui dit mais qui ça pour faire la dingue. Si c'est rampe roche, ou faire rampe roche. Si c'est rampe de paille, ou faire rampe de paille. Si c'est canal contour, faire canal contour. C'est ça nous fait dans yo.
Cause que nous faisons rampe dans le jardin, c'est de quoi que pour supporter jardin, les qui ont de l'eau vini, li poton rama, li rete dans rampe là, ça fait nous pas perdre du crème de l'eau à te poter ya, li rete là-dedans, il servi en engrais pour nous.
Jardin modèle là, son concept qui est relativement simple, mais en même temps complexe, tout parce que vous avez plusieurs facteurs que vous avez gérer en même temps. Ou une série de risques ou à prévoir parce que toute plante pas fragile même genre les gain la pluie les gain sécheresse. Donc si ou perdit ça pour capable gagner l'autre là. Son façon pour que famille là toujours joindre manger pour le manger mais tout pour jardin modèle là li on contribution tout à protection environnement à gestion environnement.
Agriculteur modèle là, c'est un monde qui apprend comment pour mettre terre dans position que pour bon rendement dans le travail qu'il va faire et puis qui apprend tout comment on fait jardin, ça que le jardin durable.
Manger durable là veut dire on ka rentrer l'aime plein dans jardin, je un bagage pour me sortir avec. Ça c'est un jardin qui c'est jardin market.
Longtemps, le jardin ou simplement un jardin récolte. Ça veut dire et ça te permet de nous faire un pile de déficit. Tout le monde plante maïs. Et puis les maïs a cassé, tout le monde a maïs, monde pas besoin. Qu'on est obligé d'aller sur le marché à vendre à ville pourri. Ça veut dire puis nous récolter maïs, tout le monde a grand sel.
Dans un jardin moderne, nous avons joué plusieurs vivres qui sont capables de servir nous. Si on va gâter et nous sommes capables de joindre l'autre là, non seulement pour manger, pour faire l'argent tout. Sur le plan de rendement, il faut plus.
Plantes médicinales, tant que citronnelle, l'année et la loi, tout ça qu'on a besoin pour utiliser dans l'espace qui est un jardin modèle, on a besoin de tout là.
Dans le jardin modèle là, on suppose joindre plusieurs bagages. En même temps, mais sans l'un pas déranger l'autre. Façon chaque a trouvé dans l'espace par eux.
Banane ça, domestiquer les donner, nous jouons banane ça, nous vendre, nous faire cob et nous manger et nous petit moun de l'autre côté, me couper banane pour te bay petit moun moi yo. Les ananas donner, me vendre yo, faire petit cob moi.
Ça a vraiment aidé sur le plan économique. Moi dépasser moins cob pour Kaila parce que des bagages que me déjà gagné que me pas pas l'acheter dans marché et sur le plan sanitaire tout gagne une bonne maladie que nous croyons que famille n'a pas gagné parce que yo consommer moins de produits qui sorti dehors.
Longtemps, on connait des petits moun qui aller à l'école, yo kon sorti l'école, on kon pourquoi je n'ai rien pour me bailler. Si c'est pas dans marché malé. Mais le moment qu'on est même si malé dans marché, et après aller dans jardin, il y a besoin de bagage pour manger.
Yon nan contrainte que agriculteur toujours gagné pour capable faire jardin modèle yo, c'est yon contrainte capable dire d'encadrement technique et financier.
Lè nap travay kon sa, gen kek lè, nou kon manke instrument, outils pour que nous capables avancer avec travail normal.
Nous avons des contraintes assez mensuelles. Des fois, pas de moyens pour nous acheter. Et les nous acheter, ce sont des semences nous capables de dire que ces semences non sélectionnées, ces semences nous achetées sur le marché. Ça permet nous qu'on fait déficit.
Tout petit monde et depuis la classe primaire apprendre que Haïti est un pays essentiellement agricole. Effort qui t'a supposé fait, c'est d'avoir encadré agriculteurs, encadrement capable rentrer premièrement dans le cadre de formation qui a payé, et puis deuxièmement et accompagnement sur le plan financier. Parce que pays à vierge nous qu'a produit.
Milieu rural là, vraiment qu'à un repère côté moun ou vivre bien, côté respirer bien, côté manger bien. Pour moi-même, pour PDL, et agriculture pays pas gain l'autre choix. Et l'avenir production manger dans le pays d'Haïti, li rete dans choix agroécologique.
Much for sharing that. So we're going to go to you, Banja.
Okay, all good. Yeah, so I'm really excited to present you this assessment on the economics of agroecological farming undertaken with the partners that you see here on the right and many fantastic collaborators at PDL within Altus Impact, Groundswell International, and the ELD initiative. So thanks very much to all that, to the support. So we may start by asking, okay, why economics? Why are we interested in economics? And the heart of the issue is that many of the services that are provided by agroecology remains hidden. That is, they're not transacted in markets, and therefore they don't have a price associated with them. So markets are not going to give us necessarily the right outcome in terms of services provided to society from farming landscapes. But even where they are produced, there's poor documentation of the economic returns provided just to the farmer. And this situation leads to underinvestment, underappreciation. And so given that, we wanted to use this study to analyze specifically, just starting with a focus on the farmers, what are the net benefits to the farmers in Haiti, in the zone where PDL works, of adopting agroecological farming. So for that purpose, we developed a comprehensive assessment tool where we had 3 focus groups in the communes that we chose to work in. They were chosen to be representative of the different agroecological farming landscapes, whilst not providing enough, whilst remaining sufficiently homogeneous that we can do statistical analysis as well. And we rolled out a household survey with 330 peasant association members in those 3 communities, of which 50% were agroecological and 50% were conventional farmers. I should mention that the way by which we know that a farmer is agroecological is because they define themselves as agroecological. It's not us from outside that have defined that. And so we've been able to represent a bit over 10% of the underlying population of peasant association members in the landscape. And at the core of the methodology is looking at what farmers are getting from their main plot of land. So in terms of the revenue, what is the quantity of the produce that's been produced at the price at which the farmer has sold the produce, less everything that went into producing that. And we asked farmers about basically their inputs and their outputs in the 12 months prior to the interview. And we also accounted for products from trees and forest produce on the same plot, so as to derive total net income for the main crop, for the main plot, sorry. Now looking what are the differences, it's always interesting to start saying what is our survey tells us. And we didn't see any striking differences in terms of social-demographic characteristics, quite high, illiteracy between, literacy between 43 to 51%, household heads amongst model and conventional farmers about the same age. However, a higher proportion of model agroecological farm households are represented by women. I'm not surprised myself to see that, because it's something I've observed in many other contexts around the world, that often it's actually the women that takes a lead with organic farming, sustainable farming. As for also the cropping systems, both model and conventional farmers, they have the same amount of land, on average 1.6 hectares of land. And agroecological farmer tend to have 3 plots of land, of which he does agroecological farming on one main plot. This is the typical situation. We do see a difference here when it comes to the actual distance. So the main plot tend to be located closer to the farmer amongst the agroecological farmer relative to the conventional farmer. And we can discuss that in the question and answering session, the implications of that. In terms of land use practices, it was interesting when I then started digging in the results and say, well, actually, there's not much of a difference between the conventional and agroecological farmers, because most of them are doing some degree of agroecological farming, using fewer seeds when planting, using conservation barriers with straws, using local seed varieties, fencing a plot, intercropping. And so we dig a little bit, before I go further. And so the main difference here is that, okay, agroecological farmers apply on average 1 more agroecological farming practice relative to conventional farmers. They apply on average 3 sustainable land management practices on their main plot. And so we dig a bit further and we find actually the main distinction between the 2 farming groups is the degree of intercropping on a given plot of land, where we have agroecological farmers having anything between 2 and 8 crops per main plot, where conventional farmers tend to have on average 3 crops. So that means for example, the community of Boisneuf, need to just remove this one. We have typically on a main plot, you'll have beans, corn, and Congo peas, whereas the agroecological farmer will have, in addition, cassava, sweet potatoes, fruit trees. And if you look at the dark spots, it actually shows you what we just saw in that video, that at any moment in time, there'll always be something to harvest at any moment time of the year. And that, of course, brings resilience. And in terms of the fruit trees and the trees that are used on the farms, the main ones are cashew, avocado, ash trees, mango, a wide diversity of trees. We also see that the model farmers tend to have a higher proportion of them have engaged in tree planting, and they also reported on having a larger proportion of the land covered by trees by their own perception. Now, digging further a little bit into the results, in terms of the main production systems in Boisneuf and Sanssouci, they're specializing in black beans as their main cash crops. And so that constitute the highest share of their earnings, along with these other different crops you can see here. In La Belle-Mer, we have the largest share of the earnings coming from sugarcane production. Now, once we've estimated the earnings, just jumping here. Once we've estimated the earnings, then we can go in and look at the production costs. And at the level of every single farmer, we find that seeds are the highest source of input cost, followed by labor costs, followed by rental of plowing equipment, and also labor costs associated with agroecology. including one-off labor costs. So some agroecological investments don't need to be repeated every year. And so they feature as less important when you just take a snapshot at any one year in time. Farmers are not spending anything on fertilizers and pesticides, so that's why they're not included here. And so that allows us then to make a budget for an average farmer, agroecological farmer in Boisneuf and Sanssouci, that indeed gets the majority of his revenue from beans, along with many other crops: maize, manioc, sugar, banana, peas, forest products. He also has some significant costs associated with the seeds, notably some labor costs, plow rental, but he's able to enjoy quite significant net crop income of $1,250 approximately per hectare, which is significant if you compare that with the conventional farmer, who also gets the greater share of his income from beans, and lesser to extent these other products. Also some input costs, but as a result, much lower net income. And the same picture repeats itself for La Belle-Mère, where you have a significant amount of income, of course, for cane sugar amongst agroecological farmers, along with other income sources, significant input costs, however, but a very important net crop income, again, to be compared with the conventional farmer, who has half, basically, from our survey. But these are averages, and behind that, there's a distribution. So I want to just share that distribution. And the distribution is more a picture of reality. That is, you can find yourself anywhere, really. And the key here being that, so the green here, these are that's the agroecological farmers. And a significantly higher proportion of the sampled farmers have incomes above $1,100 per hectare. Amongst the agroecological farmers, compared to the conventional farmers, where the majority of households are in this category, around $500–600 per hectare. Now, these just basic comparisons, though, don't tell us why this an agroecological farmer is enjoying much higher per hectare incomes, because it could be he's just better educated. He knows more what he's doing. He's located closer to the plot. Could be lots of reasons. So what we then do is do what's called production function modeling, where we are basically controlling for all the different inputs, everything that influences overall land productivity and the value of that. And here we found the main factors being the extent to which the farmer investing in labor for weeding, for all other labor, spending on all other labor costs, spending on seeds, also his location, and whether he's an agroecological farmer or not. So this production function analysis then allows us to isolate and understand the impact of being, the average impact of being an agroecological farmer. So holding constant, so a farmer, we then take a situation where a farmer spends the same on all inputs. Everything else equals, he earns $437 more per hectare. We then also integrated intercropping into the equation and found, yes, intercropping indeed is very significant determinant of land productivity. So significant that agroecology is no longer significant because the two are very correlated. And then that allows us to actually then start saying, drawing up, understanding as we add more crops to a given hectare of land, how does crop revenue increase? Right? So it shows very much this reality that nature is more collaborative than competitive. So we are getting really increasing returns from these, from adding more crops to the field. And likewise, as we spend more days on especially weeding and all other labor costs. And again, production function modeling, we can use that to then make scenarios and say, okay, so if I then increase my spending on seeds by $70 per hectare, that then results in an increase in my revenue per hectare of $143. So those $70 are really well spent, actually. And yeah, so that's the interest of production functioning modeling. And I'm not going to go into detail, but again, it's in the publication if you want to go dig further here. It's also important to just, provide some triangulation. Are we seeing evidence that what we're getting out of the land use budgets from the farmers, can we see other evidence that agroecological work? And we took GPS points for the model and the conventional farm plots, and we could observe that land productivity for the last 3 years on average was higher on agroecological modeling plot, as observed from above, even when we control for rainfall. And indeed, agroecological plots were even a little bit drier. So the true impact of agroecological farming is possibly even higher than what we see here. We also asked farmers themselves and their perception of the increase in agricultural production since they took up agroecology, and we see that 50% that 50% of the sample say they perceived at least a 50% or more increase in production, and some are reporting a doubling or more than doubling of agricultural production. And in terms of whether farmers are interested in continuing to invest in agroecology, we see that 98% says yes, and they would like to extend it to other plots. So we may ask, okay, if it's so amazing, why are we not seeing it adopted at a much larger scale? And here we come to the main constraints. And these are the main constraints on this part of the farmers. And lack of labor is ranking highest. Some of the techniques are, at least the first years, are labor intensive, and also lack of appropriate credit or not enough time to go to that association to get the technical knowledge. So these features is most important constraints. However, fortunately, most of our farmers have a sense that they've overcome some of these constraints through support, mainly of families and neighbors, and also through support from the peasant associations. And I should mention the two are very linked, because solidarity between neighboring households are sort of the building blocks of the peasant associations. And PDL also supports peasant associations to establish savings and credit corporations and help farmers work in solidarity groups to overcome labor constraints. So what are our key recommendations for enabling then a larger adoption of agroecological farming coming out of the study? And I think that the first part is what we've already seen and what PDL is already doing, bringing farmers to the heart of the co-creation of the knowledge required for the agroecological transition. Nothing is imposed, everything is sort of bottom-up process, and also strengthening the community managed credit unions, tree and plant nurseries and seed banks, and strengthening linkages between the farmers to that markets. However, the finance aspect that we also see in the video remains prevalent. And as it is today, unfortunately, and this is for the whole world, farmers they take all the risks of that transition phase, and they don't know how long time it's going to take for a given system to pay off. So it's really important that we start sharing the risks with farmers and sharing the costs, and that can come about through blended finance solutions with, for example, credit guarantees by governments and technical assistance by NGOs to improve that risk return profile of smallholders. Even more important, I would say, is because farmers are providing services to wider society, biodiversity conservation, reduced disaster risk resilience, carbon sequestration, they should be compensated for those efforts. If we start remunerating farmers, not simply for their yields, because that's the metrics by which farmers are paid today, it's their yield, but not all the other potential services. Then we start working with payments for environmental services or price premiums for nutritious foods, then we can start align farmer incentives with wider societal interests. And it's a chapter on its own, but we have all the tools at our disposition to do so. And there's also significant innovation with regards to the measurement, the tracking, and the verification and the monitoring of those ecosystem services. So I think 5 years down the road, we'll be in a very different situation than we are today in this regard, very fortunately. But yeah, we need to have an enabling policy environment. We cannot keep having agricultural policies that are doing the opposite, rewarding practices that are leading to damaging environmental outcomes, subsidies for fertilizers and pesticides in large scale, subsidies for land clearing, etc. And at the same time, it's really important, especially in the Haitian context, to pay attention to trade policies, macro and trade policies, because Haiti has been pushed to liberalize its economy, okay, which has undercut its country's domestic production and created an over-reliance on food imports. And that's all fine if it's a level playing field, but it's not. You know, we have the problem is that Haiti's markets have then become flooded with produce from countries where farmers are heavily subsidized. So this is no good. And especially now today, you know, Haiti, 60% of the food they consume is imported. And that makes the country and the farmers extremely vulnerable to price hikes that we have seen. And last but not least, very important, we've got to enhance land tenure. Farmers need to know that they can be sure that they can reap the returns for the investments that they're making into their land. So in conclusion, we've already seen it. We have a possibility of double per hectare incomes from agroecology and optimal use of inputs. The increase in $434 per hectare attributable to agroecology alone is very significant in a context where GDP per capita is in the order of $1,800. And we know that the quasi-totality of farmers would like to scale these practices. So it's due time that we start investing into rural communities and they receive that attention they need so we can move from hope to prosperity. And last but not least, we did a lot with this sample size. We could do more with a larger sample size. It'd be really interesting to also sample non-peasant association members. We'd probably see much even further starker differences than what we've observed here, and also deep dive into understanding the value of those ecosystem services, carbon sequestration, biodiversity, disaster risk resilience, etc. And again, we have tools to do so, working notably with remote sensing efforts, lots of different information layers of importance. This is another discussion, but I wanted to mention it before thanking you all very much for your attention, and thank you very much to PDL and Groundswell International and Casey and Family Foundation for the excellent collaboration and the opportunity to be part of this work and this study.
So we do have time for some questions, and I'm going to take them from the top here, and we'll see how many we can get to. But one, yes, we will share the recording, and Chandi, even now, you can repost in the chat the links on our website to the study in Haiti, as well as the similar study in Ghana, which is also very valuable. And then Chandi at the end can also post our links in terms of our contact information, should you want to be in touch with any of us. So Kantav, a first question. Vanji may also have a comment, but it's the question of women face many challenges in participating in many countries, which can come from their own families and routines. And how have you dealt with the gender dimension in your work?
As we mentioned in our presentation, our approach, we embrace the rural families, including women and men. And considering the total members of the participant, they are a lot higher number of women than men. Even though at the decision-making structures, there are less women than men. That means that the women participate in all the activities, attend all the trainings, and most of the time, since there are more women than men. And even when talking about agroecological practices, the women, they learn during the training session. And while putting into practice those in their own farm, they are teaching the husband about the agroecological practices, and they are playing a very key role in disseminating agroecological practices in Haiti. There is sometimes there's a challenge about who is making decision on the harvest, on the products. But most of the time, men control livestock like cows, goats, but for the chicken, only women are in control. But also for most of the agricultural products, the women are in charge of making the decision. And then this is really important. They play a key role in all the PDL programs, and especially in agriculture.
Thanks, Kantav. There are a few questions about local markets, and how are farmers? Are you doing any work, and how are farmers linked to local markets? Are they getting better prices, etc.? Can you speak to that issue, Kantav?
Okay. There are local markets in almost all the communal sections, but also at the district level. But there are also the big cities where there are more people. But there are a lot of challenges, and especially the bad quality of the woods. And a lot of agricultural products are being wasted because of the bad quality of the woods. There are no transportation to carry those products to the big cities. And also limited investment in trading those products. In our program, as we mentioned, we try to address different aspects of the peasant family's life, and we are not only working in promoting agroecological practices, but also we are addressing some challenges related to trading agricultural products. And among the activities, we are encouraging mostly the women to invest more into trading agricultural products, basically foods, but also agricultural products. And then we facilitate access to credit to invest more, and also to negotiate with transporters so they can carry more products from the rural communities to the cities. We have also invested in food transformation, but this is still a challenge to access access a level in which the farmer organization could process the product and reach the markets in the cities. We are still learning about how to improve this sector, but by investing more in trading the basic goods, mostly in those products, mostly foods, they are in the last few years, they are more income coming from foods trade by transporting more foods to the big cities than before. And then the women are playing once more, the women are playing a key role in trading those products, and we will continue to encourage them to do more, while we continue to encourage the farmers in planting more fruit trees in order to feed the local and even bigger marketplaces.
Thanks, Kantav. I will just add a comment and then have a question for Vanja to give you a break. I know that you are also working there's many flaws in the local market. Farmers often lose their produce to lack of storage, lack of food processing. So I believe you've helped to farmers to create 12 or more cooperative enterprises to process food, store it locally, and sell it locally for that local market. So cassava, sugarcane, corn, and other products. So that's one way I know that you're trying to improve the situation of farmers in the market. And then another is what Donna mentioned earlier of this wider alliance with 10 or so farmers organizations and market organizations and research and capacity organizations in Haiti to strengthen a Haiti food system alliance to try to deal with these issues together. So I'll just mention those things, and then you can add something in a moment, Kantav, but let me go to Vanja in terms of questions about the methodology. Vanja, how many people, how did it work? How long did it take? And then we're also questions about whether there are indicators on food and nutrition outcomes.
Yeah, I was just trying to sit and answer some of those questions. So food security was sort of an add-on onto the study. So we used the FAO fee scale and also looked at simply the stock of food within the household. And with regard to the FAO fee scale, we see that there's moderate food security also within agroecological farming households. So no significant difference there. But these are sort of, I think it'd be really interesting to look more at nutrition and food security in specific. We did see a statistically significant higher availability and stock of food amongst agroecological farmers than conventional farmers at the time of the interview. But it would be really interesting because you would expect that it translates into enhanced food security also at the children's level, and we saw that definitely in Ghana with children just being able to eat much more fruits and nuts, etc. Okay, as for now, I'm sorry, because I was just answering a question on the time lag, which is really also a very relevant question to produce 50% higher profit. What we produce is averages, and it's the result of an average number of farmers that are, some adopted it 6 months ago, some adopted agroecology 2 years ago. It would have, yes, I can't link exactly one figure to how many years it took to achieve that, but most likely we are in years. So I think it'd be really great for Ronel and Kantav to comment on that. When exactly did you start working with these communities where we're observing these outcomes? How many years ago?
Kantav, you want to comment on how long it takes farmers to develop these farms?
Or it could just simply be how long time.
Okay. This is this is a process because developing a model farm can take from 1 to 5 years in order to see the result of, especially when planting fruit trees. And also there are also challenges while putting in place this model farm, as we mentioned along the two presentations, that seeds cost a lot, and also to access diverse spaces to build the model farm. And the study mentioned that there are, for the model farms, from 5 to 6, and now we are working to reach even more, even to reach up to 10 different crops. And then this is a process, but to get really the good results of the model farms, from the first 3 years, they are good results, but progressively you will increase the harvest, the diversification. And I don't know if Ronel, you are there? No? Okay, but this is what I can say as an answer to this question.
Thanks. Vanja, do you want to comment further on the methodology process, how long it took?
So this study is somewhat unique because it happened during COVID times, and so there was lots of disruptions along the way, also in a simple not ability to sit in a community and talk as you would normally do. So I wouldn't use this study as the example of how long time it takes. It really depends on just getting the logistics in order, having some survey teams that can also help facilitate with focus groups and there being a partner present. So the quickest possible is 6 months, but usually to have a good quality study, I'd say a year. Also to incorporate as much as possible, sort of make sure that your survey questionnaire really caters to the local context and extracts all the most important questions, and that you can have those focus groups as well. You can can Ronel have access to the chat, because I see lots of questions that Ronel would be able to answer as well, around like access to water, how agroecological farmers are accessing water.
I was going to ask about water and seeds. Chandi, I don't know if Ronel can have access to speaking, but while Chandi is figuring that out, Kantab, can you speak to the issue of water? People asked about how do the farmers manage water in their plots?
Can you resume the question?
Je voulais savoir comment se fait la gestion de l'eau dans les jardins modèles en Haïti afin de satisfaire les différentes cultures. Ça, c'est Monsieur Sibidi, Antoine.
Okay. This is among the key challenges we are facing while building the model farm. And then the very first step, since we are living in a mountainous country, and most of the land and then the very first step consists in putting in place soil conservation structures. And depending on the types of materials there are on the field, there are different techniques, as we mentioned it in the presentation. The first things consist in keeping the soil and keeping more water in the soil during the rainy season. And also a good management of, first, the anti-erosive structures. Second, a good management of organic matter to keep the soil covered most of the year, because we are facing drought very often, and more often than before. And then, and since we cannot access water, we cannot carry water to the different plots, the most important things to do is soil and water conservation, good management of organic matter, and getting the soil covered most of the year.
Thank you, Kantav. Ronel, thanks for joining us. Perhaps you can make some comments. Ronel is a program coordinator with PDL, works with Kantav, and was the key person to work with, area key person to work with Vanja on this evaluation. Ronel, I don't know if on water or on seeds, if you want to comment on numbers of questions on how farmers access seeds and do they have access to good quality seeds or not?
Thank you, Steve, for the question. And what I can say to add to what Kantav just said is that as part of the program, we provide training on how to prepare a good seed. Most of the time, the farmers, as you could see in the presentation on the video, most of the time they acquire the seeds from the market. But in the program that we provide, in the trainings that we are providing, we teach them how to prepare. If you buy the seeds from the market, how you can make the selection in order to remove any waste that are not good, so they can have a good seeds to plant. So the program itself provides some training on seed selection and how to prepare their own seeds, mass selection from the field in order to have better seeds compared to the market. In terms of water, I think I'm going to explain that well, that we don't have specific activities related to water itself, but in the trainings that we are providing, in the techniques that are being provided to the farmers, they are being taught on good techniques to actually restore or conserve more water on their farms. And the intercropping or the diversification of the farm includes some techniques and crops that can maintain a better level of moisture, soil moisture, or humidity on the soil for a longer period of time, in order to resist certain periods of drought compared to other farmers.
Thanks, Ronel. So Ronel and Kantav, I don't know if you could comment further on seeds. As was identified, it's one of the higher costs of farmers. Ronel just talked about the ways that farmer gets seeds and the challenges with quality. I know PDL is also works to strengthen farmer seed banks so they don't have to depend as much on the market, but that seems like it would be an important intervention if the Ministry of Agriculture were able to support effectively, or other actors, to strengthen farmer seed banks with quality local seed varieties that they improve. But Kantav, can you comment on that, or Ronel? You're on mute, Kantav.
Okay, this is among the largest PDL contribution. Okay, this is among the largest contribution of PDL to the farmers we are working with, because accessing seeds on the right time is a big challenge for the farmers. Most of the time, even when they harvest enough grains to store enough seeds for the next planting season, and in order to manage the families, the unexpected expenses, some of them sell the grains, even the seeds before the planting season. And then the farmer organization, all the farmer organizations are managing kind of revolving seed fund in order to facilitate access to most of the participants of the community organization. But because of the low infrastructures in terms of seed and grains conservation, also because of the weaknesses of the structure working in improving the quality of the seeds. At our level, we are doing mass selection. We are mostly promoting mass selection of the seeds the farmers are managing, but we still need support from a specialist, and we are currently talking with some universities to get collaboration for stronger support in terms of seed quality improvement, because we are mostly working in farmer education about agroecology, but we still have a lot to do to guarantee better seed quality for the farmers. And also, there are still more investments to do in infrastructure, even for each community organization to have infrastructure to store seeds and to guarantee the seed availability at the beginning of each planting season. But we have done a lot, but there are still more to do to make sure and to guarantee lot better quality of seed and not depend on the market for the seed, because when the seeds are stored by the organization, they know better what they are planting. But when they buy the grains on the marketplaces, and then they will manually select the grain to be used like seeds, there is not a good guarantee that they are using good quality seeds. We are on this activity, but we are still working to improve the access of good quality seed for the farmers.
Okay, I think we have just 5 minutes and maybe a last question, Kantav and Ronel, about the policy level and the political level. It's that's something that takes a long time to answer. It's a complicated situation, but your experience with the agricultural ministry and the government in terms of any current support or hope for support in the future. I think those who do not work in Haiti, it's hard to understand how much the farmers are just on their own and without a functioning government at this point. But Kantav or Ronel, do you have any comments about that?
Can I really talk about the relationship between the agriculture ministry and the farmers? The agriculture ministry in Haiti is very weak and not really very well known by the most of the Haitian farmers, because since the 80s, I remember that the agriculture ministry stopped providing technical assistance to the farmers. And then in this direction has been closed since the 80s. And now there are some short-term programs, in especially after a disaster, but mostly through external organizations like the United Nations. But we cannot talk about the presence of the Agriculture Ministry. And even when there are some materials and even some seeds or fertilizer or other inputs, those mostly go through the elected leaders, the senators, congressmen, politicians, and then most of the support coming from the Agriculture Ministry will mostly serve the politicians than the farmers. And when the politicians access those inputs, they use them with their supporters and even for themselves, for their business, but not really to promote, to provide any kind of support to the development of agriculture in the country.
Thank you, Kantav. I think we are at time, and I want to respect people's time and really appreciate the contributions of Banja and Kantav and Ronel and Donna. Again, these are longer conversations. We are all available to continue them outside of this webinar, to share the documents, share the recordings, etc. We look forward to being in touch with everyone. And I guess I would just close by saying I was at a Haiti Development Institute conference last week with a number of development organizations and funders talking about many of these challenges. And some mentioned in other sectors like telephones, there's an opportunity to leapfrog. We don't have to go through landlines. We can go to cell. Obviously, that's already happening in Haiti and many countries. But I think the same is true with agriculture. There's a great opportunity in Haiti. We have solutions. We have ways to do this. We have techniques, and we can, I think, leapfrog to a pathway of agroecological, farmer-led rural development that can, I think, really make Haiti, help the people of Haiti, first of all, to improve their lives and make Haiti a model to share with many other great models in the world. So with that, I just want to thank everyone, and we will continue to be in touch, and thank you for participating today.